Yeah, I mean, emotionally, it's quite overpowering. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of rage still. There's a lot of anger. Being here at the headquarters is bringing a lot of memories back, especially that I feel they are to blame in many cases. They are certainly a huge contributor to what happened at Grenfell. So at the moment, there's a lot of angers, rage, but also I want to make it clear that they understand that they've hurt people, and their profits and the way they try and treat us is not acceptable, and they need to be held accountable for their actions or lack of actions. Arconic, I don't know if you've heard of them, but they killed 72 people, including my son. And it'd be amazing if you can come or if you can share it. And we're trying to, you can take it. It's just a screening. It's going to be told exactly what happened. I mean, they've been trying to hide it. They're trying to get away with it, but we're not allowing them to do that.
What do they do?
Arconic.
Yeah.
So they manufacture aluminium panels. So the aluminium panels back in London were put on my building, which was a tower, and then it went up in flames, and literally within 15 minutes the whole tower was engulfed. You can look up Grenfell. Yeah, my son was the youngest victim, so 72, where he was in my ex-wife's, he was in my ex-wife's belly at the time. So by the time we got out, we lived on the 21st floor, so trying to get out was extremely difficult through the stairwell. Couldn't see nothing, it was all smoke filled. And then he passed away with cyanide. It was 8 years ago, nearly 8 years ago. The 8-year anniversary is coming up next month. But if you can share the information, we don't want this company to get away with murder.
Well, I'm very proud of all of you for shedding a light on such a tragedy and suffering such a tragedy yourself, and being able to have the courage to come here and speak and explain to Pittsburgh what could happen, because it happened to you, and the importance of fire inspections, fire code enforcement, and how things should be approved when you are doing exterior envelope construction on a high-rise building like that, and the failures that your government was able to allow outside company from Pittsburgh to install those things, to look for loopholes like that. It's just sad, and I'm sorry that you lost lives over that, especially loved ones that you loved and you never can get back. I'm very, very sorry. All of our hearts here wrench for you. These firemen themselves been on fatal fires, and they're just tragic, tragic.
Arconic have been so arrogant. They've just paid their lawyers. They've not turned up to any of the things. They had a testimonial in the summer where basically all these companies came and sat, the construction companies, the people who made the insulation, and the people who lost loved ones came and told them the effects of this fire. Arconic didn't even turn up. Just an empty chair and a table. So this is how arrogant they are.
In 2019, the fire was brought to my attention by a private fire investigation company. I reached out to them, responding to their request for research performed on the fire for the origin and cause determination, just, for pure education, and also fire codes and fire prevention here in our state, and did a ton of research on that and looked at some of the failures that, again, most likely could have possibly happened in your particular case regarding fire inspections and application of building codes and things that may have contributed to the fire. Not specifically the origin and cause of the fire, that's a total separate matter, but just in general, building codes, the cladding that was put up, and it being a Pittsburgh-based company called Alcoa or Arconic. I don't know what Arconic, what name you guys may know it at, but that company is based here in Pittsburgh and does a lot of business here, billion-dollar company, and I thought it was important to look at that type of research on what they're doing and how that would have been approved. How would that have gotten to be okayed to be put up on a high-rise structure like that, knowing the flammability content of those panels and the cladding and the barrier in between those panels. So that's the whole reason for me having such a great interest in that, learning from a tragedy like that. And I'm very sorry to those here that lost lives. It's very, very tragic. My empathy, compassion, and heart goes along with you. Very, very sorry. And it's a shame that that happened for you guys to change your building codes. depending on what they were. That was the other thing we looked at the time of that fire. What were the building codes? What were the approval processes in the UK for projects that are a high-rise structure, commercial structure, occupying that many people? And that's what sparked my interest in looking at that, and why Mr. Ivey reached out to me to talk about our fire procedures here in Wilmerding Borough, and see if there's any correlation to help with your cause for justice.
But Arconic has never told anybody. People in Pittsburgh, nothing, and they're not even helping. They're not even helping to take the cladding that they put around the world on all these buildings.
Well, I'm going to do this. I'm going to take a picture of this because, to be honest, we are going to check it all out.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank
you so much.
And fire codes and fire prevention is the goal, to prevent the incident from ever happening. That's the whole goal of this, not profit, not money. It shouldn't be money. These men and women here run to these buildings for free. Yes. And if that was a high rise here and killed one of these men and women, there would people be arrested most likely for that type of critical failure. And again, I highly doubt that would ever be approved here because of all the policies and procedures we have with application and approvals. It's just shocking.
I think it's shameful that Arconic is still denying responsibility for their involvement in the Grenfell fire. I wish they would accept and admit responsibility and make reparations to the families, to the communities, the residents of Grenfell. It's past time to admit wrongdoing and to repair that harm. These families shouldn't have to wait decades for justice. That's just further compounding the loss and the tragedy that they have from losing their family members and from losing their community. It's time for this company to do right, and I think Pittsburgh should put more pressure on them to do the right thing.
Reading those reports since 2019 and becoming familiar with a lot of the things that you highlighted here today is just very disgusting that would be permitted and nobody would be held accountable for that. It's in black and white, pens to paper. It clearly shows who's responsible, clearly. How is that allowed? Yeah. How is that allowed to be able to happen? That's 72 homicides, basically.
And in 2 weeks, it'd be 8 years. 8 years, we've got no answers.
No justice.
Yes, Arconic, how's it feel we've burnt your house down?
Yeah, and this is nothing compared to what we went through.
This is extremely emotional, and for me a sign of resistance and a sign of hope that actually we will not give up until Arconic is held accountable for the needless deaths of our neighbors and our loved ones.
So another thing that interests us when we were talking that I think is very important to highlight is how disrespectful it was to not only the residents of that building, but also the country as a whole, to allow a company to install cladding like that would be so flammable and could spread so quickly without thinking fire prevention, fire safety, the lives of our firefighters that ran there from the fire brigades. Everybody in that building could have made it out maybe, but we're risking firefighters' lives as well. Does the UK not care about its firefighters? It's very disgusting to think about something like that. And like I said, I give you all the credit in the world for being so brave to come here all the way from the UK to talk about that and to put a spotlight on that, because it needs to be talked about.
We have a beautiful skyline here in Pittsburgh. We have beautiful rivers that we're extremely proud of, and the bridges. And Arconic sits at the feet of the Allegheny River, and you can see it as part of our skyline. And while it looks like a beautiful building, I think we need to have some scrutiny towards their business practices, not just in the UK, but even beyond the UK, and recognize that while they're sitting in there, they're making decisions that are impacting people on a global scale and directly causing death and harm. And it's ongoing to this day. So the story of Grenfell is not over. They're continuing to make decisions that hurt and kill people around the globe. And it's not just a beautiful building that sits here on our riverfront, it's a company that's making shameful decisions and needs to be held accountable for making decisions that are harming people and killing children. That's not right.